On today's show,
Who's to blame for the Suns' horrible season? Is it the players, Coach Hornacek, or the front office?
Brent Barry joins us to discuss if an outdoor game in Boston is a good idea.
And weekend whoopsies are back!
They're back!
And they look better than ever.
It's Monday, January 4th. The starter starts now!
Good evening, sweet world! Happy New Year and welcome to The Starters. Whether you're listening to the podcast or catching us on NBA TV and or YouTube, we're happy to have you, happy to be back. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me, as always, Tess Millis.
May the January the 4th be with you.
To his right, it's the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lily. And last, certainly not least, it's Starters blog editor, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o!
Hey-yo! TK, Happy New Year, what's poppin'?
Well, I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets at hashtag the starters, and we don't usually talk about college ball here, but Gary Payton's son, Gary Payton II, aka The Mitten, threw down a huge dunk yesterday in the Oregon State Beavers' huge win over the Oregon Ducks in the Civil War. Honestly, don't remember a dunk like this from Gary #1's career.
Nope.
Really crushed it. Brings us to today's question, though. Which NBA player's son are you most excited to see in the NBA someday? For me, it's the eldest sons of LeBron and Dwayne Wade, LeBron Jr. and Zaire, who I'm sure will team up to win every single title in the 2030s. Should be a good time. Can't wait for that. If you got a better answer, tweet it to us. Use hashtag the starters, and we'll see them later.
Okay, good stuff. Yeah, heck of a dunk. All right, well, we're starting the new year with a little fill in the blank. We asked you to play along on Twitter as well, hashtag the starters, when you fill in the blank. And guys, we'll start with a team that's not doing so well right now.
No.
In fact, they're god-awful right now. The Suns season probably hit rock bottom on Sunday. They lost to the Lakers by 20. That's never good. And this was coming one night after the Suns gave up 142 points to the Kings. So the Suns now have the second worst record in the West. They're at 12-25. They've dropped 9 straight games. Tass, this is not going to be an easy fill in the blank, I don't think, but do your best. The biggest problem with the Suns is...
Well, they're worn down. They've gone limp. They haven't been able to handle the non-basketball problems. They're just not strong enough. And it started with Markieff Morris, the cloud hanging over the whole team to begin this season with Markieff demanding a trade, saying he's playing, demanding it. Then, they tried to hold it together, but then Eric Bledsoe went out, and then that's it. I mean, they haven't been strong enough. You saw these problems. This is December 4th, and I remember tweeting and watching these problems where they're sort of infighting. They don't really like each other all that much. And again, at 11-14, they were okay. But it doesn't matter if Tyson Chandler's on this team, doesn't matter the veterans on this team. They're not playing for each other. They don't want to play for each other. And it's over. Don't blame it on Hornacek. These guys don't come out and play. When you're getting pounded by the Lakers, you're getting pounded by the Sixers of all teams. Yeah. Every single team in this league now can think that they're going to beat this team by 20. It's within this team. It's within all these guys. They're not ready to play.
4 of the teams they've lost to in this 9-game streak have beaten them by 20 or more as well. Right. And it does look like they have kind of quit on the coach, because the sign for me is they weren't embarrassed with that huge loss to the Sacramento Kings, which they led in the third quarter until Tyson Chandler got ejected, and then they just fell apart. You would expect at least some sort of response against the Lakers, a very beatable team for the Suns, and instead they were down by 38 at one stage, had only 22 points in the first half. You think that team is just kind of saying, until the coach is gone, we're not even going to try.
Do you think maybe one of the worst, and this is maybe a weird question, but one of the worst things to happen to this Suns team was the success they had 2 years ago when they sort of shocked the league? A lot of people had them pegged to be one of the worst teams in the league. They won 48 games, nearly made the playoffs. Was that sort of actually a bad thing to happen? Because then you sort of had already sort of an impatient owner saying, well, we got to win now. We got to win right this second. We got 48 wins. We're knocking on the door for the playoffs. And it's almost set them back in a weird way because expectations got a little too high too quick?
I don't think so.
No?
I just think they're not good enough.
Yeah.
and they have to deal with Markieff Morris.
They traded a lot. I mean, they were one of the busiest teams at the trade deadline last year. When you look at sort of the guys coming in and out here, and Brandon Knight being the piece who they thought was going to go with Bledsoe, but you lost Dragic. Isaiah Thomas was there, and then he wasn't. They got rid of the Lakers. Protected pick there. That was a killer, I still think.
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't sort of just say, okay, let's continue to progress here. They wanted to switch it up because they thought maybe they had something.
Well, 2 things. Eric Bledsoe has been a bit of a disappointing player. I love the guy. I love watching him play because he's a freak.
Yeah.
And he's called Mini LeBron for a reason. But he can't really finish. We watch him at the end of games sort of be this one-on-one takeover type guy. attempting to be that guy, and it's not working. Again, they were 11-14, so they were sort of on the precipice of being a decent team, but Bledsoe hasn't been the guy to get them over that hump. And you're right, Skeets, they tried to, sort of finagle the roster, so maybe they could add that big guy, but it wasn't working. And the big guy that they should have traded, the chemistry piece that's really killing them, is Markieff Morris on this team. It's looming over them. I mean, he's got DNP-CDs. You saw those plays earlier.
2 game suspension for throwing a towel.
Threw a towel, just like this season has gone for the Suns.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really throwing in the towel right now. That's who they should have traded a long time ago. It's too much for them to deal with. And Tyson Chandler, we all thought would be the guy who would get them through these problems, but he's not.
That level of disrespect to throw a towel onto the coach really is unacceptable. And they have to
he said he didn't know.
Here's the thing. Who's going
Coincidence.
to last longer in Phoenix? Is it Coach Hornacek, or is it a guy like Morris? Or maybe even a guy like Tyson Chandler, who might be looking at this team going, I don't want to end my career here. He feels still like a piece that other teams would want to try and make a championship run. I know
He doesn't
got a
look
big
very
contract.
good right now.
He doesn't, but that's one
He's
thing on
carrying a
this
few
squad,
injuries too.
and then you put him on a squad maybe trying to go deep into the playoffs. I think it's a possibility. But do you think Coach Hornacek gets canned by this squad?
I think Markieff Morris needs to be traded first and foremost before Jeff Hornacek is fired, because they fired 2 of his assistants. They let those guys go, so it's not a good sign for Jeff
At this
Hornacek
point of the season,
by any means.
You may as well almost let him see it out, because hasn't got a contract for next year anyway. I don't know if it would be the best time to try to get a new guy in when the team's in turmoil at the moment. I think you've got to sort out that roster problem.
A lot of problems with Phoenix Suns right now. All right, next one though. Yesterday, Bulls swingman Jimmy Butler, he set a franchise record for most points in a half during the 115-113 win over the Raptors. Now, Jimmy Buckets scored 40 of his 42 in the second half against the Raps. It didn't matter who the Raptors put on him. DeMarre Carroll had his go at him, Corey Joseph, Kyle Lowry, DeRozan at times. He just lit him up. And that was better than Michael Jordan's 39 points in a second half against the Bucks way back in 1989. So you had a pretty good day when you beat a record that Michael Jordan had. So we've talked about this a little bit before because of Klay Thompson earlier before the holiday. Fill in the blank. The NBA's best shooting guard is who?
It's Jimmy B. It's Jimmy Butler.
All right.
James Harden is still the best offensive 2 guard, even this year where everyone's ridiculing him. But Jimmy Butler makes up for that offensive gap by playing harder, playing defense.
Yeah.
He's honestly literally playing harder. So there's no way you can pick James Harden right now, even though the numbers still say that James Harden is the better offensive player. You can't take James Harden right now. That being said, I think he could be the best 2 guard if he wanted to be. I mean, he's not over the hill. Last year, I would still consider James Harden to be the best 2 guard, but Jimmy Butler is overtaking him right now.
I think you're kind of undervaluing James Harden's offense, to be honest with you, because he is the only shooting guard in the league who is his own offense. If he's on your team, you're going to be a pretty decent offensive team. They've been top 5 in the league since the beginning of December. Basically, he's gotten going because he's taking over all the possessions, and he does everything for them. And I think that is just a smidge more important than being able to play on both ends as well as Jimmy Butler and Klay Thompson.
This coming from a Bulls fan over here.
As well as
I'm also a
team,
huge Beard fan, though, as you can see.
He's just not leading his
Loyalty's
team.
divided.
That's the problem. Like, Jimmy Butler's actually leading his team. You want to play with that guy. There's just so many problems because James Harden isn't leading right now.
Quickly, is it Harden? Is it Butler? Is it Klay Thompson? DeRozan?
Klay Thompson right now for me. As a pure shooting guard, I'm going with Klay Thompson.
Those other guys can do more.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler can get his own shot, and as Trey mentioned,
If you had one guy to take a shot, though, who would you want to take it?
Well, now, okay, I don't know. Ray Allen. I mean,
I'm just saying Klay.
Kobe. All right. One more here. One more before we go. We had a little break over the holidays, but I want to know, fill in the blank again, this is for everyone watching. The greatest play you saw over the holidays was what? And we'll start with you, Lee.
I'm so glad you asked, because this has been killing me ever since we left. We pre-taped our season in review show on December 21st. 2 nights later, this play from the San Antonio Spurs happened, thus making it ineligible to win Very Solid Play of the Year. And it's the Spurs at their Spursian best. It's got everything. It's a pinball machine, a netball play, the ball fizzes around, there's a bounce pass, there's a boomerang. There's even a little pump fake party here. There it is. Not quite.
Is this the greatest Very Solid Play ever?
It may be. We'll find out at the end of the year. But it ends with a beautiful layup, and that's what I call a very solid play.
Were your holidays just horrible?
They were ruined.
After that happened?
They were ruined. How was I supposed to enjoy Christmas when I knew that was out there and it wasn't in for an award?
Okay.
Can't wait for the Stardies to see if
I
that
can't
play
wait
wins
either.
at all.
Trey, do you have one that wasn't a very solid play?
When I was back home over the break, I went to see the Bulls play the Pacers December 30th, and Jimmy Butler basically just put on a show in the fourth quarter. He had probably 4 incredible shots, starting with this three-pointer that went high off the glass to tie things up. Then a couple of nice, strong drives, leaving Paul George in the dust a couple of times. No offense to Paul George, but the coup de grace was the game-winning tip on a broken play. Just an incredible pass, an even more incredible shot. That was some crazy stuff. One of the best games I've ever seen in person, and your boy was pumping his fist like crazy. Dope.
Okay, so one guy answers with a very solid play. The other guy gives us the entire highlights from a game.
Finally, it feels good.
Yeah, okay.
Finally.
So let's hear from you guys on Twitter. Hashtag the starters. Greatest play you saw over the holidays was what? Maybe it was that Tim Frazier oop to Noah Vonleh. That was nuts. All right, coming up, Brent Barry joins us in studio to play Game of Bones. Will he bring a direwolf?
Checking mic levels, check, 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 1, 2. So now we're recording, right? You see it as red? Talk to some of the people in my, we'll screw that up. Am I in right here, Len?
You're in, yeah.
Right here,
Perfect.
where, here? Am I out of the picture? Who inspired? Welcome back to High Types for the gift, a guy who inspired us. What's the name of the show? You know, every show we like to screw up the lines.
We are back at the starters, and that was High Tops, the new show just aired on NBA TV over the weekend, and that's the host right there, two-time NBA champ.
See
Brent Barry.
the high quality production
Yeah.
value of that, don't you, Lee?
Yeah, it was great.
Thanks for helping me out with that.
Oh, no, I enjoyed it.
Bones,
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you guys and the starter faithful out there. Great to see you guys.
Right
I know
back
you
at
guys
ya.
went home, and I'm glad you guys got that break because you guys do such great work here, and you need a little breathing time. So thank you.
We're back. We're fresh.
Good to see you.
Well, we're happy to have you back, and we're excited to play a little more Game of Bones, right?
Yeah.
We've opened a lot of pack of cards recently, but Game of Bones, a new fun segment here. Trey, tell us how it works again.
Yeah, Game of Bones, I will give you guys an NBA topic along with 2 pre-approved responses. You tell me your response based on those 2. Nothing else. If there's nothing else, you're
Pre-approved.
disqualified and you will be beheaded. Rules have changed around here. We'll begin with
Wow.
the first topic. News broke over the weekend that famed NBA referee Joey Crawford would be retiring at the end of this, his 39th NBA season. His travel dance will be missed. Bones, you played in the very same game that Joey Crawford ejected Tim Duncan for laughing on the bench, and it seems like not much else. So tell us, Bones, was Timmy's ejection amusing or confusing?
But we're all playing, right?
You're all playing, but I really only care what
Okay,
Bones
me
has
too.
to say.
Well, I'm going amusing.
That was quite confusing.
Lee, do you have a marker that works?
My marker doesn't work.
Okay, you're saying
which is
amusing.
rather amusing.
Oh, interesting.
Is mine showing up? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say confusing. And I was on the floor at the time that happened. I was standing, it was free throw attempts at that time, and I was standing somewhere outside the three-point line. And I looked to my left, and all I saw was Tim doing that, smiling, laughing, head in towel. And I saw Joey on my left-hand side walk over there and point at Tim, and then the whistle blowing, and Tim being thrown out of the game. And I just couldn't understand, why did you just eject Tim Duncan? Like, what was the basis for ejecting Tim at that point? Did he not brush his teeth? Did he not floss properly? All he was doing was on the bench just shaking his head and smiling. And really not showing up. I mean, referees will toss you in a heartbeat if you're showing them up
Right.
in their face where it's everybody
can
in
see
the
it.
arena, 22,000 can see you doing that. Tim had gone to the sidelines, was talking to teammates, and then was just sort of laughing to himself and laughed all the way to the locker room after Joey tossed him out
and
of
there
the
was
game.
nothing like prior in that game between Duncan and Crawford, or even earlier in the season, like nothing that you can recall, or I guess Duncan could.
I can't recall
Right.
that. Tim might have a different answer
interesting.
to that question, but it was absolutely, for me, confusing.
Yeah, and Joey Crawford claims that incident may have changed his life because he was reprimanded for it,
Yeah.
and there wasn't really anything. There wasn't anything from Duncan that preceded that. There was no reason to do that, but Joey had a bit of a hot temper. We know that. And another NBA TV production, Beyond the Paint, he was on that describing his issues with his temper.
Right.
And I wonder if he came into the league today, that same temper, how long he would last before being reprimanded. Because it just feels like we're quicker to judge or quicker to act on that. Because I just wonder how long of a career he would have had.
I think that referees who have that sort of attitude do not make it into the league now. And I think that's what Joey was coming to grips with the fact that being around for so long, being such a good ref for so long, and the old school referees really were part of the show. It was almost, I mean, if you go back to highlights, it's almost Globetrotter-ish. If you see some of the ways that some of the Strom and Mike Mathis, and I mean, guys who've been around the league a long time, and that personality just doesn't exist anymore, nor is there a place in it. No. I think that moment was when Joey realized that and decided to speak on that, actually, with Matt Weiner.
Matt Weiner,
yeah. So
absolutely.
Very revealing.
All right, Trey, next one.
Second topic, according to reports, the Boston Celtics have had preliminary discussions regarding playing an outdoor basketball game at fabled Fenway Park, which I think would make Tyler Zeller the Green Monster. Is the idea of playing a game outdoors in Boston wicked dumb or wicked smart? Several H's on that smart.
Okay, well, I don't need to spell it because I'm going with dumb.
I'm just going smart.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. Why is this smart?
I think we've got to get outside and try it out.
Why not? We've been outside.
Yeah, I know, but let's.
Smart as well.
I was just outside 10 minutes ago.
Okay, maybe not in Boston, but we should go somewhere where it's warm, where it's nice conditions, and play an outside game.
Lee, they've done this before.
Yeah, but they haven't really done it properly. They've only done it twice and abandoned it.
No, they've done it 3 times in the preseason.
Yeah.
The Suns, playing at Indian Wells Center, the tennis court, I guess, facility. And the games, for the most part, were usually brutal.
Yeah,
Lee,
really
what would be
stunk.
the proper way? You said they didn't do it proper. They're
Well,
outside.
just to not do 3 games and then give up on it. Like, just keep trying, keep
keep
trying to find
trying.
ways. Keep trying to find a way so it's not too bad. Put it in a city like Vegas where it's warm and not too windy.
Yeah, with the NBA team that's in Vegas.
No, just, as an
I don't,
exhibition,
there is
put
no,
it there.
There is no team there.
So why is it smart?
I think it's just worth a try. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
I'm with Lee.
You've been sitting too close to Lee with that why not response.
Why in Boston of
Yeah.
all places? Here's the thing, guys. Do you bring out the parquet?
Yeah.
You got it.
There's only been 3 parquet courts, but do you bring it out and run the risk of that thing getting warped and rained on?
And
Yeah, exactly.
do you put the net at the top of the Green Monster like Rock and Jock?
Man, maybe this isn't as smart as we thought.
Outside sports are great.
Come on back and watch the starters. Back to the starters, time for some weekend whoopsies.
Everyone had a long weekend this weekend, so we're going back to Thursday. You may have missed this, although that didn't miss that lady's face
Oh, man.
directly in the kisser.
At least it was a nice, gentle pass.
Yeah, she was fine.
And she was okay. Okay,
She was
great.
okay late.
All right, well, on Friday, the Knicks forgot how to inbounds the basketball. You see Porzingis there. He
There's
puts
4
it
of
in
them.
play, and then Robin Lopez steps out of bounds and picks it up. And everyone's just like, what's going on here? Oh,
Man.
why are we seeing this
I know.
every
How
couple
does
of
this
weeks, it
happen?
feels like, in the
Pick the
league?
ball up and go with it. The ref will call you back if it's not right.
Let's flash back to everyone's favorite Lakers fan. Lakers!
Show the bling.
It's good to see him every time back then, but he is back! That's this weekend with the Lou Will sign. Yeah, baby!
Did he ever leave?
He never leaves this show. We see him every day.
Never leave. I'm not sure. All right, also on Friday, Corey Joseph dropping Brian Roberts. And then finding Lowry for the 3.
You never really see them give up the shot when you cross somebody over.
Yeah, it's rare. You're right.
Just shoot it.
Dropping Brian Roberts like Dip Roberts. Shout out to baseball fans.
Knicks guard Jaren Grant be jabbing here. Just over and over and over and over again. That's all we're showing you. It's not much of a whoopsie. It's just fun to watch.
You know who would love that?
That's a good play right there.
Coach Nick.
Coach Nick loves a good jab
All
set.
right,
Shout out to
Saturday,
Coach Nick.
George Karl gets teed up, and you know who loves it? DeMarcus Cousins.
Someone else getting a fine for
Yeah, way to go, Coach.
No wonder they get along.
Yeah, way to get that tee.
In Charlotte Sunday, the Hornets mop boy gets caught pretty close to the play. He thinks the quarter's over. No, there's a steal. Get away!
Good dive. Look at this
Wow,
dive.
He
yeah.
does a great job to get out of there.
Looking like Bip Roberts. Sliding in the second.
Bip Roberts did like to slide out head first. I remember that.
Oh, sticking Saturday. Ricky Rubio sees ghosts, and he high-fives them. All alone there, shooting the technical. Yeah, get your daps in.
Always funny.
He gets some real ones after that.
The Lakers are streaking, baby. 3 in a row, including this Jordan Clarkson hammer that causes Nick Young to be resuscitated on the bench. Come on, Nick, you all right?
Shout out to Swaggy
Yeah.
P.
Good.
Back, bring him back to life. Same game, not so great for Tyson Chandler with the Suns. Goes to throw down the alley-oop, and I mean, it looks old here. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Just gets
got it, man.
denied at the
That hurts. So does this one. Washington Sunday, Ramon Sessions comes up just fast, a bit short. All mesh.
Looking like DeAndre Jordan from the line there,
Oof.
but with the floater.
The reaction is great too.
Yeah, he's like, oh man, that sucks. There it is. Weekend whoopsies. A little Thursday thrown in.
We had 2 wedgies since we were gone. The first one, Dwight Howard, block wedgie, gets Jason Smith. Usually you think Dwight Howard's involved in wedgie, he's giving someone a wedgie, an actual wedgie. He blocks him here. And then a second one, Gorgie Jang, another one, blocks Jordan Hill.
Gorgie, a wedgie. Yeah, slams the wedgie. How often do we see the block wedgie?
You don't see the block wedgie very often.
This is going to make the starters.
Appreciate the shout out. Dave Benz, Jim Peterson, very much appreciated. A couple block wedgies for you, giving us 19 on the season.
None in 2016 yet.
Yeah. Who will get the first wedgie of the new year? Can't wait to find out. When we come back, new calendar year, new very solid play. You're watching the starters. Back to the starters. Here's what you need to know about December's Pick'em battle. I lost. Again. So as a result, I'll be doing the Pick'em payoff later this week. In fact, I believe on Wednesday I'm going to be doing it. I have no idea what I'll be up to. Will it be as bad as snakes around the shoulder? We'll find out.
Well, let's just say last year you made me eat a fruitcake.
Yeah.
Revenge will be sweet, or shall I say milky this year.
Oh, God. Well, here's tonight's picks. I'm the only one taking the Jazz. So I'm either going to be winning or probably losing, and everyone else has the Rockets on the road. 10 games on tonight, 2 of them here on the network. Pacers and Heat starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Grizzlies and Blazers. So some good games there here on the network. Don't go anywhere. Lee, where are we going for very solid play tonight?
We're going to Tirana for a beauty from the Chicago Bulls, and it's Jimmy Butler who starts it. Him and Powell have a nice little 1-2. Taj gets involved. Over to Captain Kirk in the corner for a
Swish bomb.
Nice way to start the season. Beautiful teamwork and a swish bomb. It's been it's a good start for 2016. Here it is again, Kirk. Lovely. That's what I call a very solid play.
Trey, we asked people earlier, NBA players' sons you're most excited to see in the NBA. The people have spoken.
Yeah, a lot of good responses. This one comes from Trunk Man, who had the best Riley Curry shout out. He said after Riley Curry wins the WNBA MVP, she can probably come over and shoot 50, 40, 90 in the NBA as well.
Yeah.
Matt Levine says, can't wait to see Kendrick Perkins Jr. dominate the NBA one day. He put up 15 and 9 in a halftime game as a 4-year-old in 2012. And the Sportomatic says it's got to be Chris Paul's son. He's the male Riley Curry.
Makes sense. That's it for us. Stick around for FanDuel. Brace the night.